I woke before my alarm this morning. Something about the quality of light coming through the curtain told me, even before I opened my eyes, that today would be different, softer somehow, quieter than usual. I got up and went to the window, and there it was, fog. Thick, white, settled deep into the valley, swallowing the garden fence, the road, even the tops of the taller trees, just a little further than I could usually see them. I want to take this morning slowly with you, step by step, the way fog itself moves, never in a hurry, never quite finished arriving or leaving. Let's watch it together. There is a particular word for this kind of weather, not quite rain, not quite clear. Hazy, H-A-Z-Y, hazy. Hazy describes something slightly unclear or blurred, as though seen through a very thin curtain. The view from my window this morning is completely hazy. Shapes are there, but softened. Present but not quite certain of themselves. A hazy morning asks you to look a little longer than usual, to let your eyes adjust slowly to a world that has decided, for now, to keep most of its details to itself. You can say, the view was hazy through the morning mist, or my memory of that day is a little hazy now. Hazy, the word for things that exist, but only just. I make tea before doing anything else. Some mornings simply ask for it. I bring the cup to the window and look out properly now, both hands wrapped around the warm ceramic, steam rising gently to meet the fog outside, almost as if the two of them recognize each other. The garden has nearly disappeared. I can see the closest few feet of grass, still slightly silver with dew, and then nothing, just soft white, stretching out in every direction, swallowing the fence, the gate, the lane beyond it. It is strange how a familiar place can become unfamiliar so quickly, simply by having its edges removed. There is a word for the way fog forms in the first place: condensation. C-O-N-D-E-N-S-A-T-I-O-N. Condensation. Condensation happens when warm, moist air meets a cooler surface or cooler air, and the moisture in it turns from invisible vapor into tiny, visible droplets. That is exactly what fog is. Millions of tiny water droplets suspended in the air itself, formed when the warm ground from yesterday meets the cooler air of early morning. Something so simple scientifically, creating something this beautiful, this mysterious, right outside my window. You can say, condensation formed on the cold glass, or the fog was caused by overnight condensation near the river. Condensation, the quiet chemistry behind every misty morning. I decide to go outside, not far, just far enough to feel it properly, rather than only watching it through glass. I pull on a warm sweater, step into the garden, and immediately the fog wraps around me, cool and slightly damp against my skin, smelling faintly of wet grass and something else. Something harder to name, just morning, I suppose, just early, quiet morning. Sound behaves strangely in fog. I have always found that fascinating. A bird calling somewhere nearby sounds both close and impossibly distant at once, swallowed and softened by all that suspended moisture in the air. My own footsteps on the wet grass sound muffled, smaller than usual, as though the fog has reached out and quietly turned down the volume on the whole world. There is a word for sound that becomes quieter, less sharp, absorbed by something around it. Muffled. M-U-F-F-L-E-D. Muffled. Muffled describes a sound that is made softer or less clear, usually because something is absorbing or blocking it slightly. A voice through a thick door sounds muffled. Footsteps in deep snow sound muffled. And this morning, every sound in the garden is muffled by fog, softened at the edges, arriving a little quieter and gentler than it would on an ordinary, clear day. You can say, "I heard muffled voices from the next room," or "The fog left every sound outside feeling muffled and far away." Muffled, the sound of a world wrapped gently in something soft. A shape moves somewhere ahead of me on the lane, vague at first, just a darker patch within the white. I slow slightly, curious, watching it gradually take form. A person, I realize, walking a dog, both of them emerging gradually from the fog the way the house emerged behind me earlier. My neighbor, I see now, recognizing the particular slow gait of her elderly dog before I recognize her face. We exchange a quiet good morning as she passes, both of us instinctively speaking a little softer than usual, as though the fog itself has asked for quiet voices. "Thick one today," she says, nodding towards the white nothing surrounding us both. "Lovely, though," I answer, and she smiles, agreeing without needing more words than that. And then she is gone again, dissolving back into the fog behind me, her dog's soft footsteps the last thing I hear before even those fade completely. There is a word for a brief, pleasant exchange between people who do not know each other very well. Pleasantry. 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 A pleasantry is a polite, friendly remark, usually brief, usually about something simple, like weather, exchanged more for warmth than for information. "Thick one today" was a pleasantry, so was my answer. Neither of us learned anything new about the other, but something small and kind passed between us anyway, the way pleasantries so often manage to do, briefly, quietly, and then they are gone, back into the fog, just like everything else this morning. You can say, "They exchanged a few pleasantries before parting," or "I'm not close with my neighbors, but we always share a pleasantry." Pleasantry, the small, warm currency of ordinary human contact. I walk a little further into the garden, toward where the gate should be. I know exactly where it is, of course. I have walked this path 1,000 times. But this morning, walking towards something I cannot quite see yet, even somewhere this familiar, carries a small pleasant thrill of uncertainty, as though the gate might today lead somewhere slightly different than usual. There is a word for that particular thrill, the small excitement of not knowing exactly what comes next, even in a familiar place. Mystique. 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 Mystique describes an air of mystery or fascination that surrounds something, making it feel more intriguing than it might otherwise seem. Fog gives even the most ordinary garden a kind of mystique. Suddenly, walking 10 familiar steps feels like a small adventure. Suddenly, the gate at the end of the path holds a little more interest than it ever does on a clear, ordinary morning. You can say, "The old house had a certain mystique about it," or "Fog gives the whole landscape a quiet mystique." Mystique, the word for ordinary things made just a little bit magical by what they choose to hide. I reach the gate eventually, exactly where I expected it to be, its metal cold and slightly damp under my hand. Beyond it, the lane disappears into white after only a few steps. I can just make out the shape of the old oak tree at the corner, usually so solid and certain looking, now reduced to a soft grey outline, like a pencil sketch someone has not quite finished. There is a word for shapes seen only partially, suggested rather than clearly shown. Silhouette. S-I-L-H-O-U-E-T-T-E. Silhouette. A silhouette is the dark outline of something, visible against a lighter background, without any of the inner details showing. Usually we think of silhouettes against bright light, but fog creates its own gentler version of the same thing. The oak tree this morning is a silhouette of itself, all its usual detail, its bark, its individual leaves, reduced to a single soft grey shape, recognizable but mysterious too. You can say, I could see his silhouette through the fog, or the mountains were just silhouettes against the misty sky. Silhouette. The shape of something holding on to just enough of itself to still be recognized. I stand at the gate a little longer, just looking. There is something deeply calming about a view this simplified. No far horizon competing for attention, no distant hills, no neighboring rooftops, no wider world demanding to be noticed. Just this, the nearest few feet of lane, the soft outline of one old tree, and an enormous gentle whiteness holding everything else for now, just out of sight. I think fog teaches a kind of patience that clear days rarely ask of us. On a clear day, you can see exactly where you are going, the whole road ahead, all at once. But fog asks you to trust the next few steps without needing to see much further than that. It asks you to be here fully in this exact patch of ground, rather than constantly looking ahead to what comes next. There is a word for that kind of trust, moving forward without complete certainty of what lies ahead. Faith. F-A-I-T-H. Faith. Faith means trust or confidence in something, even without full proof or complete certainty. Walking through fog requires a small, everyday kind of faith. Faith that the path continues even though you cannot see it yet. Faith that the world beyond the fog is still there, unchanged, simply waiting to become visible again. It's a small thing, but I think it's worth noticing how often in ordinary life we're asked for exactly this same quiet kind of faith. You can say, she walked forward with faith that the path would clear, or it takes faith to keep going when you can't see what's ahead. Faith, the quiet decision to trust the next few steps, even in the fog. I turn back toward the house, the way I came, my own earlier footprints already slightly softened in the wet grass. The house itself emerges slowly as I walk, first just a vague, warm shape, then gradually more detail. A window, the shape of the door, the familiar outline of the roofline against the pale sky. There is something lovely about watching something familiar slowly reveal itself like that, piece by piece, rather than all at once. It makes you appreciate the details more somehow. The particular colour of the door, the small chip in the brick near the window, Details that, on an ordinary clear morning, you might simply walk past without truly seeing. There is a word for noticing something carefully, in detail, rather than only glancing at it. Discern. D-I-S-C-E-R-N. Discern. To discern means to perceive or recognize something clearly, often something that requires a little extra attention or effort to notice properly. You discern shapes emerging from fog. You discern a friend's voice in a crowded room. You discern the small differences between two very similar things. Discerning takes patience. It is the opposite of a quick glance. It is looking properly until something becomes truly clear. You can say, "I could just discern the shape of the house through the mist," or "She has a discerning eye for detail." Discern, the quiet skill of looking closely enough to actually see. Back inside, I make a second cup of tea and sit by the window again, watching the fog from the warmth of the house now. I notice the light has changed very slightly since I went outside. Still soft, still diffuse, but with the faintest suggestion of warmth in it now, somewhere far above all this whiteness. The sun, trying patiently to find its way through. There is a word for light that has been softened and spread by something in its way, rather than shining sharply. We touched on this before with rain, but it applies just as well here. Diffuse. D-I-F-F-U-S-E. Diffuse. Diffuse light spreads softly and evenly, without harsh shadows or a single bright source. This morning's light is entirely diffuse, filtered gently through every tiny droplet of fog, spread across the whole sky evenly, so soft that it is almost impossible to tell exactly where the sun actually is, only that it is somewhere up there, patiently doing its quiet work. You can say, "The light through the fog was beautifully diffuse," or "Diffuse morning light filled the whole room softly." Diffuse. Light with all its sharp edges gently removed. I think how fog, more than almost any other weather, makes you slow down without ever asking directly. Rain at least announces itself loudly sometimes. Snow piles up, visibly, undeniably. But fog simply arrives quietly, softening edges, blurring distances, gently suggesting, without a single word, that perhaps today is not a day for rushing anywhere. I want to talk to you for a moment now, directly, about fog, but also about something a little larger than fog. There are seasons in life that feel a little like this morning, hazy, uncertain, times when you cannot see very far ahead, when the future feels like that lane disappearing into white after a few steps. It can be uncomfortable not knowing. Most of us are taught in one way or another to prefer clear skies, long views, certainty. But I wonder sometimes if fog has something useful to teach us about those uncertain seasons too. Fog does not mean the path has disappeared. It only means you can't see it all yet. The lane is still there exactly as it always was, whether or not the fog allows you to see its full length this morning. Your own path, whatever uncertain season you might be walking through, is very likely the same, still there, still leading somewhere, simply asking you for now to trust the next few visible steps rather than the whole distance at once. There is a word for moving forward steadily despite not being able to see the full path ahead. Perseverance, which we have spoken of before, but there is another word too, gentler, smaller, trust, T-R-U-S-T. Trust. Trust means a firm belief in the reliability of something or someone, even without complete proof. You trust the road continues even hidden in fog. You trust a difficult season will eventually clear, the way every fog, without exception, eventually does. Trust does not remove the fog, it simply allows you to keep walking through it without being frozen by what you cannot yet see. You can say, I trust this will pass even though I can't see how yet, or trust the process even when the path is unclear. Trust, the quiet companion of every uncertain morning, weather or otherwise. By mid-morning, the fog has begun, very slowly, to thin. I notice it first at the edges of the garden, the fence becoming slightly more solid, less ghostly than before. Then the lane beyond the gate, a little more of it visible now, though still trailing off into soft white further along. There is a word for something gradually becoming clearer or less obscured. Clarify. C-L-A-R-I-F-Y. Clarify. To clarify means to make something clearer, easier to see or understand, often through a gradual process, rather than all at once. The morning is clarifying slowly now, details returning one by one, the way understanding sometimes clarifies slowly too in life, long after the initial confusion first arrived. You can say, the fog began to clarify around midday, or her thoughts slowly clarified after a good night's sleep. Clarify, the gentle, gradual return of clearness, never all at once, always patiently, piece by piece. I watched the oak tree at the corner slowly regain its detail. First, just the silhouette, the way I saw it earlier. Then, gradually, individual branches becoming distinguishable. Then, finally, the faintest suggestion of its leaves, still slightly blurred, but undeniably there now, returning to itself the way familiar things do, once whatever was softening them begins to lift. I think there is something worth noticing in how fog lifts too, not just how it arrives. It never disappears all at once, no single dramatic moment where the whole valley suddenly becomes clear. Instead, it thins gradually, unevenly, clearing first in one place, lingering a little longer in another, until eventually, almost without you noticing the exact moment it finished, the whole landscape is simply there again, clear, ordinary, as though it had never been hidden at all. There is a word for that particular kind of slow, uneven clearing: dissolve. D-I-S-S-O-L-V-E. Dissolve. To dissolve means to gradually disappear, blending away rather than ending sharply, the way sugar dissolves slowly into warm tea, the way fog dissolves slowly into ordinary morning air. Nothing about a dissolving fog feels sudden. It simply thins and thins and thins until one moment you realize it has dissolved completely, and you can't quite say exactly when. You can say the morning fog slowly dissolved by midday, Or my worries seemed to dissolve once I started talking about them. Dissolve, the soft, unhurried opposite of disappearing suddenly. I want to walk you through a little more of the science behind all this, gently, because I find it adds something to the wonder rather than taking it away. Fog forms most often on calm, clear nights when the ground loses heat quickly into a cloudless sky. As the ground cools, the air closest to it cools too, and cool air can't hold as much invisible water vapor as warm air can, so the extra moisture has nowhere to go except to condense into tiny visible droplets, hovering low to the ground, exactly the fog I am looking at right now. That is why fog is often thickest in valleys, near rivers, in low-lying places, just like the valley this house sits in. Cool, heavy air sinks naturally to the lowest points available, carrying all that condensed moisture with it, settling there until the sun eventually finds enough strength to warm the air again and lift it away. There is a word for something settling into the most lowest and natural place available to it. Settle. S-E-T-T-L-E. Settle. To settle means to come to rest in a stable, natural position, often after some kind of movement or disturbance. Fog settles in valleys. Dust settles after it is disturbed. Feelings settle eventually after a difficult day. There is something deeply restful about the word itself, a sense of finally arriving somewhere and simply being allowed to stay there a while. You can say, the fog settled thickly in the valley overnight, or after a long day, I finally felt myself settle. Settle, the quiet, natural rest that follows movement. I think about how often we ask ourselves to clarify too quickly, to have everything figured out before we feel ready to move forward at all. But fog reminds me that clarity is rarely instant. It thins slowly, unevenly, in its own particular time, which is very rarely the time we would have chosen for it ourselves. By the time my tea is finished, the fog outside has thinned considerably. I can see well down the lane now, the oak tree fully itself again, a neighbouring rooftop visible for the first time all morning, small details returning everywhere I look, the world simply being its ordinary self again, as though apologising gently for having hidden for a while. But I find, oddly, that I almost miss it already. The fog, I mean. There was something in that soft, hazy, uncertain hour that felt rare and worth holding on to, even though I could not have explained exactly why at the time. There is a word for missing something while it is still technically present, simply because you sense it ending soon. Wistful. W-I-S-T-F-U-L. Wistful. Wistful describes a gentle kind of sadness or longing, usually quiet, usually tender, often connected to something passing or already gone. Watching the last patches of fog dissolve from the far end of the lane, I feel distinctly wistful. Not unhappy that the fog is lifting, just aware, gently, that something soft and rare is ending, the way all soft, rare mornings eventually do. You can say, she looked back wistfully at the house she was leaving, or there was something wistful about the last days of summer. Wistful, the tender ache of noticing something beautiful precisely because it will not last. Before we finish this morning together, I want to give you a few phrases, English for fog, for uncertainty, and for the particular patience that mist always seems to ask of us. The first phrase, I can't see the road ahead. used literally for fog, of course, but also often used to describe uncertainty in life more generally. I know things are unclear right now. I can't really see the road ahead. An honest, simple way to admit you do not yet know what comes next. The second phrase, "It's starting to clear up," said about weather, but also about understanding, about difficult situations easing. The fog is starting to clear up, or things have been confusing, but it's starting to clear up now. A small, hopeful sentence, marking the first sign that clarity is returning. The third phrase, "Take it one step at a time." Perfect advice for walking through actual fog, and equally good advice for uncertain seasons of any kind. You don't need to see the whole path, just take it one step at a time. Gentle permission to move forward without needing the entire journey mapped out in advance. And the fourth phrase, "Everything will become clear in time." A reassurance, often said to someone feeling lost or confused. I know it's hard right now, but everything will become clear in time. Said with patience, said with the quiet confidence of someone who has watched enough fog lift in enough mornings to know that it always, eventually, does. The words from this morning: hazing, condensing, muffled, mystique, silhouette, faith, discern, diffuse, trust, clarify, dissolve, settle, wistful. Words for soft mornings, uncertain paths, and the quiet trust it takes to keep walking through both. And the phrases, "I can't see the road ahead," "It's starting to clear up," "Take it one step at a time," "Everything will become clear in time." By now, the fog is almost entirely gone. Just the faintest haze remains, low over the far fields, thinning even as I watch it. The sun has finally found its way through properly, warm and golden now, touching the wet grass with small points of light, each blade catching the morning differently, like the whole garden has been quietly, patiently waiting to be seen again. I finish my tea, the cup properly empty now, properly cold, and I feel, in a small, quiet way, grateful for this whole slow, hazy hour, for the chance to walk somewhere familiar and have it feel new just for a little while, for the small lesson, offered without a single word, about trusting paths you cannot fully see yet. Wherever you are listening from this morning, or this evening, or whenever you find this, I hope you are gentle with yourself about whatever fog you might be walking through right now, whatever feels hazy, whatever you cannot quite see the end of yet. It will clarify, slowly, unevenly, in its own particular time, but it will. Every fog, without exception, eventually lifts. Until next time, take care of yourself, and the next time you wake to a hazy morning, try walking into it a little, rather than only watching from the window. You might find, the way I did today, that there is more comfort hidden inside uncertainty than you expected. Goodbye, for now. May your own fog lift gently and right on time.